Welcome to the Transform Your Life podcast. I'm your host, Cass Henry, transformation coach and creator of the Surrender Method. My mission? To help you break free from fear, trust your intuition, and take aligned actions so you can create a life you absolutely love. Each week, I'll bring you powerful mindset shifts, surrender strategies, and transformational tools, plus incredible guest experts sharing their wisdom to help you expand, grow, and step into your fullest potential. Are you ready? Let's dive in. Hey, my friends, welcome back to the Transform Your Life podcast. I am so happy that you're here listening to another episode, and I'm so grateful. This week, we are unpacking a big one, and that is resentment. Not just what it is, but how it silently steals our peace, and how NLP and surrender can help us finally let it go. And a quick heads up, this one's not just about resentment you carry towards others. It's also about the resentment that you carry towards yourself. Yeah, we're going to go there because it is very important. So let's just dive right in. So what is resentment really? Most people think resentment is about what someone did to us, but resentment is actually about what we expected someone to do and they didn't do it. In NLP terms, neuro-linguistic programming, resentment happens when we create a box for someone, a set of rules for how they should act, should treat us, should show up, should respond, and then we get upset when they don't fit into the box. And the truth? People were never meant to live inside boxes we build in our minds. Resentment is like emotional Velcro. The more we replay the story, the more stuck we feel. And it's exhausting because every time that person shows up in our mind or life, it reactivates the wound. When we resent someone, we think that we're just holding it to ourselves, but you not communicate. Oftentimes I'll be in clients' homes, and I'm not calling anyone out specifically. I'm just saying that I can feel the resentment so strong. Those people don't even have to talk. It's the way that they carry their body. It's the way that they huff and puff. It's the way that they look at their partners. It's the subtle things that they say that it just shows that the resentment is so strong. It's like a dark cloud that's following around people around. And then when they speak, the resentment, it's like they're pushing that dark cloud to that person, and that person's being engulfed in that dark cloud. However, you would think that by speaking out the resentment, it's going on that person, but guess what? You still are in the same dark cloud. You're just walking around carrying it and then also impacting everybody else around you. So resentment, it's a really tricky thing because we think that if we resent someone, then they're going to change. But isn't it funny that resentment is created because people aren't acting in accordance to what we want them to do. And then again, when they still aren't acting the way we want them to, we resent them and we think the resentment will cause them to act better and in a way that we want them, but it just compounds the resentment. And so during this episode, I'm going to teach you how to clear out that resentment. And the cool thing is I'm going to help you do it for yourself as well. So self-resentment, I feel, is like a silent struggle. Now, let's flip the lens inward, shall we? So, what about when we're the one not living up to our own expectations? Maybe you didn't follow through on something you promised yourself. Maybe you stayed in a relationship longer than you should have. Maybe you made choices that now feel out of alignment. Maybe you feel like you're behind in life. There's so many ways that resentment can breed on our own, within our own personal selves towards ourselves. The thing with self-resentment is it's really sneaky. It hides under shame, perfectionism, guilt, or self-punishment. We become judge and jury over our past selves, forgetting that we were doing the best with what we had. That's a presupposition with NLP is everyone is doing the best with what they have, okay? And this is really helpful because when we are in relationships with people or we're looking back, it's a common when let's say in therapy, we're reflecting back on what our parents did growing up, like as we were growing up and we're like, oh, looking back, they did the best with what they had. Except we don't typically think of that in terms of everyday life. And if you can adopt that presupposition in knowing that everyone is just doing the best with what they have, and if they knew better, it's assumed that they would do better, but it's not always the case. So we're just going to have to give people grace, including ourselves. And then when you do that, resentment doesn't have as much space to breed and to grow. So the wild part is, just like with others, we put ourselves in a box. I should have known better. I should have been stronger. I should be farther ahead. But that version of you, she was just surviving. She was just learning. She didn't know then what you know now. If I could go back in time and give this kind of advice to the younger Cass, yeah, things would have been different, but she was only doing the best that she could with what she knew and had back then. I didn't have emotional regulation tools back then. And during this week, I'm officially a certified NLP practitioner. If you're curious about what that is, I'll share about that in the next episode. But during the exercises, one of them, we went into a hypnosis and we invited people, or rather, we opened up the stage for people to come onto our stage who wanted to be forgiven, and for the people that wanted us wanted us to for them to forgive us. I'm getting it all mixed up, but essentially anyone that wanted to be forgiven, either by us or by somebody, and people that I wanted to forgive me. And so oftentimes it's interesting. A flood of people come onto my stage just because they want to be forgiven, but the people in their life isn't necessarily forgiving them. And so I've had people on my stage that I didn't want to forgive, but during this exercise, you take a vow that you're going to forgive people so that you can free them and then therefore free the other people. And so I just playful out. On that stage, I saw my little son when he was like 4 years old. And back then, I didn't have these tools. I didn't have emotional regulation tools. I didn't know I was ADHD. I didn't know I was a highly sensitive person. I just didn't know. And so I did the best I could with what I had at the time. I was a single mom. I was young and I was struggling. I didn't even know that I had postpartum back then. And so I would flick a switch really easily when it came to my emotions, and I would yell. And I hated that I did that because my son was so little. No one wants to yell at their kids. And sometimes people don't actually do anything to change that behavior. They just hope that it will go away without actually doing that work and getting curious about why are they flipping out in the first place? Okay. And so I invited my son up on that stage and I got down to his level and I could see his little tiny hands and his little elbows and his little knees. Oh, how I miss his little knees. And he was little. He was like 3 years old. And I crouched down. I got down to his level and he wrapped his little arms around me. He's, Mommy, I forgive you. And this work is so powerful because I used to have so much guilt and so much shame around the way that I behaved. And I hated it. It would eat me up. And even though it seemed as though he was still carrying on with his day after he would cry and I would cry, deep down in me, I just felt like I could do better, except at the time I didn't know how to be better. I tried therapy and that didn't quite work. And so finding these tools within NLP has completely transformed my life. And now I can go back in time and ask for forgiveness from the people that I mistreated and then forgive people as well, knowing what I know now. So it's really cool. And then, of course, forgiving yourself as well. Like, forgiving yourself is a huge part of that as well. So, resentment towards yourself keeps you trapped in a timeline you can't rewrite instead of living the one that you still can. So, the cool thing again with NLP is that you can't necessarily go back and change time. However, you can go back in time and change the meaning that you assign to the memories that you have encoded in your mind, which is absolutely incredible and amazing and so exciting. And we're going to do that a little bit in tonight's call inside the inner circle. So if you're not a part of the inner circle, make sure that you do join. It will be a link in the show notes. It's my community membership, especially for women who have ADHD and who are highly sensitive, because so many of these tools are going to help you absolutely transform your life. And if you have children, then chances are you have at least one of your children. If you have only one, then it's possible that your child is the same as you, ADHD and HSP, because it's just common. I don't know a statistic. Maybe I'll find one day and share that with you. But if you're listening, you might be nodding your head being like, yep. And so these tools are drastically going to help you and your children and their future and anyone else that hangs out with them. You don't want your children to have this fiery energy within them that they feel that they can't control. Because I know how that ends. So many people who have ADHD and who are HSPs turn to addiction because the emotions that we feel are so strong we don't know how to control them. All of this work that I'm going to be doing with you guys, if you join my one-to-one coaching program, I have a program, the Surrender Method. I will be launching that in June, and you have an option to upgrade so that you get one-to-one calls with me, which is an absolute transformational experience. And you can also join my community membership for HSPs and ADHD. We meet 4 times per month. With all that said, all of this work that you're going to do with me in this kind of community is not just going to transform your life, it's going to transform the lives of the people around you. When you can let go of the resentment that you're having towards other people, you're cutting a tie. You're freeing them and you're also freeing yourself. And if you don't want to go and forgive someone for the thing that they did to you, that's okay. Forgive them for yourself so that you can cut the tether between you and them. And you're not excusing the behavior that they did towards you. You're just simply freeing yourself. And it's, you know what? It happened. Okay, so let's carry on. Let's move on. Let me free myself from the burdens of my past and carry on. What lessons can I learn from that? If you can learn lessons from your past of situations that you wish hadn't happened, then you're able to apply that in your future. You feel a lot more empowered. Another presupposition in NLP is this cause and effect, the idea of cause and effect. If you're in effect, then you feel like everyone's behaviors around you is making you feel a certain way. No one is making you feel any way. You're choosing to feel a certain way based off of the way that people are interacting with you. And then you are creating meaning about that very thing. And then the meanings that we create in our minds then eventually shape our thoughts and then our behaviors and our outcomes and therefore our life. Now, if you are in cause and let's say, for example, someone mistreats you, you're like, oh, I didn't really like that. I'm not going to create any specific meaning about myself from that. Maybe I'll get curious and ask them a question. Why did you talk to me like that? And maybe that person didn't even realize that they were talking to you like that. Or maybe they're just having a pissy day. Or maybe they're dealing with their own stuff and projecting it onto you. So now you're in a state of being in control of your own emotions instead of being like, oh, that person's an asshole. And I don't like being treated like that. And I'm just going to ignore them and resent them and just carry this really negative energy. Guess what? Now you gave them the remote control to control how you feel. You just essentially gave them the remote and was like, here, control how I should feel now. Now I'm going to feel upset, and they're going to press that upset button because they're like, that person's letting me essentially control how they feel based off of how I treat them. You don't ever want to give someone that remote control of your life. You want to be in cause at all times. And again, this is something that we're going to go into way more in depth inside the Surrender Method program and inside this inner circle. When I learned about this, it completely changed my life because anytime something happens in my life, even if I don't like it, I'm like, okay, what can I do to change this? What can I do to be in control? Not in control of other people. That's just not what I'm saying. You don't want to be in control of other people. You want to always be in control of yourself and the feelings that you're feeling. Everything is a choice in how you feel. No one is making you feel a certain way. And if you disagree with what I'm saying, then perhaps it's an opportunity for personal growth. Not everyone is going to like this. If someone cuts you off and you're late for work, you're like, I was late to work because that person cut me off. What about the fact that maybe you got up too late and maybe you're distracted on your phone and maybe you were taking your time getting out the door? Was it really that person that cut you off in traffic that made you late for work, or was it you? If we can get out of the mindset of everything is happening to us and everyone is making us feel a certain way and be a certain way, your entire life will change. Now, it takes courage to be in the seat of cause, okay? I am late because I caused myself to be late. Did anyone handcuff? This is not a very good visual, so I'm going to go back and not do that. But essentially, did anyone hold you down and was like, you're not going to work today? Chances are no. I'm sure it's happened. Definitely has happened before. And I wouldn't wish that on anyone. And at the same time, 99% of the time, that's not happening. So if you're late to work and you're blaming everybody else, this is a really great opportunity to ask yourself, why were we late to work? And take responsibility, take accountability. And if you're blaming your kids, guess what? If you're going to continuously blame your kids until they're what, like 18, 30, you're going to be in effect for that long? Why would you do that? When I walk into clients' homes and they say that their house is a mess because they're kids, I don't. It's not very often I let them get away with that. Because who's the boss of the house? Who's buying them these things? Who's ensuring that they tidy up after themselves? And a lot of times I'll look around and it's not the kid stuff at all. But oftentimes, it's easier to pass the blame on to everybody else than looking at ourselves in the mirror. Okay? If you're not liking this, if you're feeling triggered in any way, if you're feeling uncomfortable, if you're like, shut up, Cass, and you want to go and turn off this podcast, that's okay. But if you are feeling those things and you're like, okay, I'm feeling really uncomfortable, I'm not liking what she's saying, and I'm also going to continue to listen, then congratulations, because you're one in the few, and that means that you actually want to change. So continue listening, come join the inner circle, because I guarantee you, the moment you say yes to yourself and you're like, okay, up until now, what I've been doing isn't working for me. I'm willing and ready to do whatever it takes to create the change in my life so that I can start living a life that I absolutely love. Show me the way, Cass. Then that's such a beautiful place to be. Your success and your happiness is inevitable. And if you're triggered by this, you want to turn off the episode, that's fine. Maybe one day you'll come back to it with fresh set of eyes and be open to doing that inner work. This is not easy to look yourself in the mirror and be like, how is this my fault? And it's not about pointing blame and pointing fault at other people or yourself. That doesn't feel good. But do it from a curious state. How is this my fault? How am I in this much debt? How am I this overweight? How am I this out of breath walking up the stairs? How am I single? What did I do to get to where I am? And what do I need to do in order to move forward? Perhaps you feel like you're doing everything. And if that is the case, then perhaps it's just this negative loop that's going on in your mind that we call limiting beliefs that I can help you interrupt, as well as maybe it's patterns that you are producing in your life that's giving you a certain outcome. Okay? If you feel like you're doing everything and you're exhausted, I would love to have a conversation with you to see where we could change and pivot and add things and remove things and change your mindset so that one little tweak can completely transform your life. I've seen it. I've done it with people. I've had it done to me. It's absolutely incredible the kind of work that we can do together. So I went off on a tangent because that just happens. That's just how I am. The cost of holding on to resentment. So what happens if we don't let go of resentment towards ourselves and towards others? Here's what it costs you, okay? Number one, peace. You stay in a cycle of emotional reservation. You can't access peace if you're continuously pushing resentment towards others, including yourself. Number two is presence. You're mentally stuck in the past, missing the now. Okay? Number three, and actually I have a little story to share about presence. On Mother's Day, I started feeling resentful towards my son, and I hated that I was doing that, so I was getting curious. But unfortunately, I didn't understand until the end of the day. Now, I only started feeling this way more towards the end of the day because he didn't give me a Mother's Day card, and that's all I really wanted. And I kept telling him I would really love a card. Okay, I went and bought myself some flowers. I was like, why am I making such a big deal about this? And why am I putting this on him? If he doesn't want to make me a card, that's fine. And I was like, okay, am I not being a good mom? Am I not teaching him how to take care of his mom? And then therefore, eventually, if he chooses a wife in the future, I started to feel resentful, and the resentment took me out of the moment. I wasn't able to enjoy his presence in the present moment because I was thinking of creating this feeling of resentment in my mind and in my body towards him. That's not fair, okay? And if you're doing this to other people, just know that you're robbing yourself of being in the present moment and you're taking away from the possibility of connecting. It's never good. Get curious. Why are you choosing to feel resentful towards this person? Number three is possibility. You can't fully move forward when you're tethered to the wound. You just can't. So you're missing out on possible experiences in life, possible people that you could be surrounding yourself with. Number 4 is self-trust. You question yourself constantly because your identity is wrapped up in what went wrong. If you can forgive yourself and let yourself know that you did the best with what you had back, then you can begin to retrust yourself again. I can trust you. We did the best that we could with what we had back in the day. Now let's move forward. We have new tools, new resources. Now we can still trust ourselves and trust that we'll do even better. Number 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I wrote down some notes. Okay. Number 5, relationships. Resentment leaks. Okay. Even if it's towards someone else, it shows up in how you relate to new people. If, let's say, you're at a party and you're feeling so much resentment towards your husband, remember that dark cloud that I said earlier on? When you're spewing resentment towards other people, it trickles into everybody else. So let's say you're like at a party and you have this deep resentment towards your husband and you're just like giving him like the stink eyes, just essentially I hate you eyes, which I see all the time. It's really sad. And actually, I was there before too in a relationship that I was in, so I get it. Everybody feels that. You're not approachable. You don't feel good to be around. Your energy is not good. Your energy feels hateful and resentful and not good. So you're missing out on potential really good relationships, friendships, and whatever that may be because of this leaky resentment. Okay. And number 6, health. Chronic resentment contributes to stress, inflammation, poor sleep, and burnout. And it can eventually lead to other health issues as well. So not only are you allowing yourself to be tethered to this person in a negative way, you're also negatively impacting yourself on a health level. That's really sad to know. The truth is, resentment isn't protecting you, it's actually punishing you. Let me read that again, okay? The truth is, resentment isn't protecting you, it's punishing you. So the benefits of letting go, obviously the opposite is true of everything that I just said. So here's what happened when you release resentment, okay? You free up energy and mental space for healing and creativity. Okay? You create space in your mind. How can you think clearly if the resentment is taking up all your mental space and energy? Number 2 is you feel lighter emotionally, mentally, and even physically. You rebuild trust in yourself and others. You finally step into the present instead of living from an old wound. You open yourself up to deeper intimacy, peace, and clarity. And this is a big one, okay? You stop operating from fear and start acting from freedom. That's the benefits of releasing resentment. Letting go isn't about letting someone off the hook. It's about unhooking yourself from their behavior. Freedom. Everyone wants freedom. They don't realize, or people don't realize often, that they can access the feeling of freedom if only they were to free themselves from resentment towards others. So now you might be like, okay, I have what resentment is, the cons of resentment, the benefits of letting it go, how to release it though. So this is NLP based steps, okay? So here's where NLP comes in. Number 1, identify the box you built. You built the box. That's why you're feeling the resentment. Ask yourself, what did I expect them to do? Or what did I expect myself to do? Get clear on the rules you created and how they were broken. Number 2, and go ahead and pause this at any point. Write down these things that after this episode, you can go back and actually go through this exercise, okay? So number 1 is identify the box you built. Number 2 is reframe the story. Instead of they betrayed me, try they showed me who they are. Or instead of I failed, try I didn't have the tools then that I have now. So for so long when I was in abusive relationships, people would tell me, believe people for who they show you they are versus the version of you that you've created in your mind about who they are. That's a big thing for people who are highly sensitive people because we see people for who they could be potentially. We see people for the best version that they could be. However, not everyone lives up to the potential that they could be, including ourselves. So if you're like, oh, but they could be really nice, they could treat me really good, they could act in a certain way. Are they though? And if they're not, then they just aren't that person. They could be for sure, but they're not. If you want to free yourself from the burdens of being in toxic or narcissistic or abusive relationships, see people as they are, not as you think they are or as you think they could be. And this is a really hard pill to swallow. And there's a lot of dissociation that has probably happened with you and that person. You may have dissociated yourself for so long that you can't actually see who they truly are because you've created this facade of who you wanted them to be. And it's safer for you to believe that version that you've created of them than to actually know the truth. Because the truth is scary. The truth is real. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. So it's safer for a lot of people to just dissociate. But why are we staying trapped in these situations? We get one life. We get one life. There's so many people in the world that can make you happy, including yourself. Give yourself the freedom to break free from these relationships. And if you're having struggles and troubles, reach out to me. I'm not a therapist, and I will never say that I am because I'm not. And if ever you ask that I am, I will say I am most certainly not. So if you feel like you really need help from a therapist, please seek out help. If you want to explore the possibilities of healing yourself from any of these situations or burdens that are in your mind with NLP tools and coaching tools that I have to offer, then please reach out to me. I've been there. That's why I've gone down this path, because I've been there and I know the pain and I know the losses. Life is so dang short. Okay? You deserve to be happy. You deserve to live a life that you feel loved and appreciated and happy, and not just for the little breadcrumbs that you get in these kind of relationships. It goes for friendships and relationships that you have with your parents as well. Now, I'm not telling you to cut off completely from people. If you need to do that, though, then do what's necessary. But just check in with yourself and ask yourself, am I resenting this person because I've tried to put them into a box that they don't belong in? And once you've done that and you've released them from the shackles that you've attached to them based off of this identity that you have assigned to them based off of who you think that they should be. For example, if your father isn't being the father that you wished and prayed for, release that person from that identity. They are only who they are, who they show you they are. I'd seen these dads and I'm not even going to go into that example, but you'll see people and you'll see relationships and you'll be like, oh, I wish I had that. Okay. And if you don't, then you could either try and get that or just appreciate the kind of relationship that you do have. The thing is, when it comes to resentment, is you get to decide. Once you see people for who they truly are, you get to decide, do I want to be in their life or not? Okay, free yourself from that. So I went off again on a little tangent. So let me reel back in. Number 1 for releasing resentment is identify the box that you built. Number 2 is to reframe the story that you created around it. Number 3 is to change the submodalities. Okay, think about the memory. Going back in time to when this all initially started. Resentment, it's not typically this one moment. A lot of times it's like a bubble of 100 small moments that you've created to build this really big cloud of resentment. Think about a memory where you began resenting that person and ask yourself, how big is that? If you were to pull up the memory in front of you, how big is it? Is it 2 feet by 2 feet? Is it 5 by 5? Is it smaller? Is it like 12 inches by 12 inches? How big is it? What colors are there? Is it in color? Is it black and white? Is it a video or is it a still image? You're looking at the memory. What does it look like? Then when you have that memory in front of you and you're looking at it, I want you to shrink it down. Shrink it to really small, almost like a postage stamp, okay? I want you to fade the colors. If there was sound in that video, then turn down the volume all the way so that there's no sound. Watch what happens to the intensity of that memory. You're going to notice that it shrinks, and then what you can do is you can throw it up into the sky and you can watch it just disappear, kind of like a postage stamp may disintegrate. That's what you'll do with this memory the first time that you began resenting this person. And what you might find that happens is by doing that, it'll release you from all of the little tiny moments that you've been holding on resentment. Now, if you're still feeling that resentment, go ahead and pull up another memory and play it in front of you. What are the colors? How big is it? Is there sounds? Is it a movie or is it a still image? Where is it in front of you? Is it over here? Is it in front of you? Is it down below? Okay, now shrink it. Take away the color. Take away the sound. Make it really small. Okay, now you have it. Now send it up and shoot it into the sky and watch it explode. Do it as many times as you need to free yourself from the resentment from that person and from yourself as well. Then give it a new meaning. Resentment lives in the meaning we attach to things. Okay, ask yourself, what else could this have meant? Then, what can I learn or carry forward instead? What could this have meant? Maybe someone was late to a date with you, and you're like, oh, screw that person. They obviously don't care about me. If they cared about me, then they would have been on time. And then you're creating this story in your head about why they were late. And then you create a meaning about them or either about yourself. Maybe I'm just not worthy of someone showing up on time for me. Maybe they don't actually like me and they're just coming because they feel obligated. The things that we do in our minds, I'm telling you. So go back to those times and ask yourself, what kind of meaning did I attach to it and how can I create a new meaning? Maybe they were just caught up at work and they are really upset that they're running late and they forgot their phones. So they're just rushing, trying to get there on time. Oh, wow, that person really loves me. They want to rush to get there to be with me. So much so that they were willing to leave their phone at home. Who knows? Either one could be true. It doesn't really matter because nothing has meaning until we assign it meaning. And then what can I learn or carry forward from this instead? Next time, maybe I just won't start creating a story and assumptions about a situation until I know the facts. Free yourself from that. Number 5, forgive. Okay? But not for them, for you. NLP doesn't ask you to pretend things didn't happen. It gives you tools to change how they live inside of you. Forgive, not for them, but for you. Final things in this episode. I hope that you've been loving it. I was going to do 15 minutes, but here I am rambling on 30 plus minutes. So I hope that if you're still listening, that you're enjoying this episode. Resentment is essentially a form of clutter. Okay, and clutter attracts more clutter, whether it's in your home, whether it's in your mind, whether it's in your habits. You know how I used to declutter physical spaces for a living, and well, I still do that. But I am letting go of that business this year so that I can help even more people doing this kind of work. Resentment is emotional clutter. And just like that junk drawer you keep meaning to clean, it's quietly taking up space you could be using for joy, creativity, and connection. So maybe today is the day you open that drawer, the drawer of resentment, and clean it out. You don't need to do it perfectly. You just need to start. Peel back one layer, ask yourself one question, forgive one thing, say one prayer, and journal one truth. Letting go doesn't mean it didn't matter. It means that you do. You do matter. So if this episode resonated with you, I invite you to come hang out with us inside the inner circle. This is the kind of work that we're going to be doing. And it's powerful. And the cool thing is you're only just getting started. So this is where we take these conversations even deeper. It's a safe, supportive space where you're not doing this work alone. And you'll realize that you're not alone in this, because the stories that people bring up, you'll be like, oh my gosh, was she in my head? That happens all the time. You'll learn tools just like this. You'll get coaching, connection, real-time reminders that your healing is allowed to be gentle and it's allowed to be yours. So click the link in my show notes to join the community, to join the inner circle. We would love to have you. And if you're not ready yet, no pressure. Just keep listening to the podcast. Click subscribe so that you don't miss an episode. Keep peeling back the layers. Show up for yourself. And if you feel like this might be helpful for someone, don't passively send it to someone who you want them to stop resenting you, or you think that they have a lot of resentment and they need to do the work. I'm going to ask you to pause there and just do the work on yourself, okay? Send it to a friend that you think might benefit from it. Again, not in a passive-aggressive way. And just know that you're not behind, okay? You're right on time. I want to thank you again for listening to another episode of the Transform Your Life podcast. If you're not already doing so, then please come hang out with me on Instagram at _CassHenry. Let me know what you thought of this episode, and I really hope it helps you, okay? Give yourself the permission today to free yourself from resentment to other people as well as yourself. Anyways, I'm sending you so much love, and I'll see you next week on the Transform Your Life podcast. Bye! Thanks so much for listening to another episode. If this resonated with you, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs this message. Want to go even deeper? Download my free Surrender and Manifest Masterclass. It's packed with powerful tools to help you surrender, trust, and take aligned action. Grab it now through the link in the show notes. And if you're ready to stop second-guessing yourself, finally break free from fear, and step into the life that's been waiting for you, join me inside the Surrender Method. This isn't just another program, it's a life-shifting experience that will completely transform the way you see yourself, your decisions, and your future. If you've been waiting for a sign, this is it. Follow me on Instagram at _CassHenry for daily inspiration, and let's keep the transformation going. Until next time, trust, surrender, and take aligned action. Your dreams are waiting.